few days ago I talked about Jalico's goal, and noted that it was clearly a sequel to their Moero Pro Soccer game, but I didn't know why they changed the title. Well, Top Striker gave me the answer, because the correct title for this game should be Moero Top Striker. The game is based on the cartoon Moero Top Striker. That show was about a Japanese boy living in Italy who was a soccer prodigy, and he assembles an international all-star junior team. The show was actually produced with the European market in mind, and it aired in some countries there first, though the game itself never left Japan. I couldn't find anything definitive, but presumably Namco and Jalico both agreed to not use Moero in the title of their soccer games. Top Striker has you step into the shoes of Yoshikawa Hikaru, the star of the show. And only Yoshikawa. Yeah, there's 11 people on the team, but the only one that you ever control is Yoshikawa. There's essentially two different modes that you can play, a versus mode and a story mode. In story mode, you progress through the events of the show, taking part in different soccer tournaments. On the field, Yoshikawa is the one with black hair, and the other team has a star player as well, the guy with brown hair. When you're in control of the ball, B does a short pass while A does a long kick. When another player on your team has the ball, you can still hit those buttons to force them to take those actions. You can't control where they're directing the ball, they'll just do it. And when the other team has the ball, you really can't do anything except run them down. The A and B buttons don't do anything, and any attempts to block or steal are done automatically. What winds up happening as a result of this is that it often feels like there's a soccer match occurring around you rather than a soccer match that you're playing in. In particular, early on you don't even have to have your hands on the controller to win a game. And your teammates are probably going to be more effective at shooting goals than you are, so it's better to pass the ball to them when you're in close. Eventually, you'll lose a game. And that's when Top Striker gets a little bit weird. When you lose, you're given a random number of turns to take on a roll and move board game. There aren't any other players here, you just roll a die and move that many spaces, and you can move freely back or forward. All of the spaces do something to improve you, whether it's working on your speed, your strength, or getting more resources for your team. The big squares are where you really want to land. They have special training that will increase your level, learn super moves, and most vitally, replace one of your old teammates with an international superstar. This guy I found just hanging around a park, willing to join any team that passed by, had stats 5 times higher than my existing teammates. The board game is also where you can get a password so that you can continue from where you left off. There's no limit to the number of times you could lose and come back to the board game to improve stats, which means in the long run you're pretty much guaranteed to win, but it could be a very long run. The super moves are activated on the field only when certain conditions are met, and then after that it's just pushing in the direction of the goal and hitting A to trigger it. The other team's star player can have super moves too, and they tend to use them over and over again. Now you might have noticed that all of the soccer field footage here looks the same. Actually, I played 4 full matches in Top Striker, and although that was against 3 different teams, they all looked exactly the same on the field. In fact, through the whole game, there are no teams with other colored uniforms, or hair, or anything. They always look exactly the same. And they only have one song in the game. It's actually an arrangement of the official Japanese soccer team fight song, but it still gets old pretty fast. Top Striker is not a game with a lot of fans in Japan, and the few that I could find seem to be more fans of the show than the game itself. My take on it is Top Striker isn't very fun to play. The action on the field is really dull. Since you can only ever control one player, you're really limited in what you can do. And then you have to lose in order to build up your stats. That's not a fun way to do things. Making the training based on success at rolling a die isn't great, but the real heart of the game is the on-field action, and that's just a snore. This one is just an overall failure.